So it's my privilege again to read out Mr. Sebastian sir profile, and he is the physical educator and multi-sports coach, and sir is an experienced physical educator and multi-sports coach with a demonstrated history of working in education and the sports industry. He has skilled in grassroots sports, physical literacy, curriculum design, coaches education, recreation and multi-sports facility management, coaching and working with the special needs students. He has a strong professional background with a Master of Science focused in fitness, exercise rehabilitation, nutrition from YMCA College of Physical Education, Chennai, and a Bachelor of Physical Education from one of the premier institute in India, such Lakshmibai National College of Physical Education, Gwalior. He has been a certified coach, AIFF D license coach, and Indian Blind Football Federation certified coach, IBF certified grassroots badminton coach, Reebok International University certified fit kids trainer for children, and consultant for PE outsourcing company FC Madras. So, sir, it's a indeed very and honor for us having you here as a speaker for today's session. Thank you so much, sir, and I welcome each and everyone for this session, and I also welcome Mr. Sebastian Francis, sir, for this session. Sir, stage is yours.
Thank you, Dr. Jairam. Shall I share my screen now?
Yes, sir, please.
Okay. Okay. Namaskar and a very good morning to all our participants in this session. Welcome to the Sports and Events in School session. So when we are talking about sports and events in school, this is one of the key areas of the physical education department, organizing sports and events in schools. And when we talk about these events, there is a whole range of events that will happen in school, which will cover from competitive, participatory, and just fun events. I'm going to take you through a step-by-step process where we'll also be touching on the importance of physical education and how physical education is also going to be focusing on the sports and events that happen in schools. When we are talking about physical education, we have to always look at outcomes. क्या है जो आउटकम्स हमको चाहिए कब हम पीई लेसन्स ले रहे हैं? कुछ भी करेगा तो हम कोई लेसन भी ले लेगा तो हम क्लास में इसका लर्निंग आउटकम्स होता है. जब बच्चे लोग हमारा पीई क्लास में आते तो क्लास के एंड में क्या लर्निंग किया बच्चे लोग, लर्निंग आउटकम क्या था. फॉर एग्जांपल आपका क्लास 1 का बच्चे लोग आ रहे हैं, आप तो एक लेसन ले रहे हैं इन लोग को रनिंग के बारे में, बेसिक रनिंग. So रनिंग के बारे में बात करेगा तो we have what is called a jog, a slow run, a sprint and a long distance run. So बच्चे लोग को जब इसका डिफरेंस हम लोग सीखते हैं क्लास में, जॉगिंग का डिफरेंस, स्लो फास्ट जॉगिंग का डिफरेंस एंड स्प्रिंट का डिफरेंस. तो क्लास के लास्ट में बच्चे लोग का कभी हम कोई बच्चे 30 बच्चे लोग हमारा क्लास में है तो 30 बच्चे तो हमारा क्लास में है तो इनको पूछेगा तो आपने आज क्या सीखा क्लास में आके, वही तो हमारा लर्निंग आउटकम. आपका क्लास में बच्चे लोग सो भी नहीं बोल सकते, आपके क्लास में 50% बच्चे लोग को जॉगिंग और स्प्रिंटिंग का फर्क क्या है इनको मालूम पड़ेगा तो that is your learning outcomes that you have achieved for that particular one session. So PE का टोटल PE प्रोग्राम का एक स्कूल में लर्निंग आउटकम्स तो एक तो हमारा फर्स्ट था फिटनेस एंड एक्टिव लाइफस्टाइल का. बच्चे लोग को ये सीखने का है जैसा हम लोग हमारा जिंदगी में फिट रहेगा और फिजिकली एक्टिव भी रहेगा, इसके लिए हमको क्या क्या चीज चाहिए. ये तो हमारा फिजिकल एजुकेशन प्रोग्राम एक स्कूल का फर्स्ट एंड मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट टास्क है। बच्चे लोग का वो नॉलेज, वो मोटिवेशन, फाउंडेशन, स्किल्स सीखने का, इसको फिट रहने का और फिजिकली एक्टिव फॉर लाइफ, खाली स्कूल में नहीं, जब स्कूल छोड़ के भी जाते हैं बच्चे लोग, इनको तो ये जो आपने सीखा था इसका मन में तो जिंदगी भर रहना चाहिए। दूसरा तो स्कूल का पी प्रोग्राम का, कुछ स्कूल्स में तो स्पोर्ट्स का परस्यूट होता है, टीम स्पोर्ट्स बनाने का, स्कूल को इंटर स्कूल कंपटीशन लेके आने जाने का, इंटर क्लास कॉम्पिटिशन के ला जाने का। सो सब बच्चे तो इसमें नहीं खेल सकते हैं। जब भी हम टीम बनाते हैं तो क्लास का बेस्ट बच्चे लोग लेते हैं टीम में। सेम वे स्कूल टीम का तो बेस्ट बच्चे लोग जाते हैं स्कूल में। सो जो बच्चे लोग को वो टैलेंट है, इसको तो नेक्स्ट लेवल अपॉर्चुनिटी देने का है, स्पोर्ट्स को परस्यू करने का, और विद कोचिंग, रेगुलर प्रैक्टिस, कॉम्पिटिशन जाने का, इंटर स्कूल, इंटर स्टेट, नेशनल तक जाने का। इसकी बात तो होता है नेक्स्ट स्पोर्टिंग एक्सीलेंस पाथवे। स्पोर्टिंग एक्सीलेंस पाथवे था, जो बच्चे लोग स्कूल टीम में खेला, अभी इनका नेक्स्ट स्टेप क्या है? नेक्स्ट स्टेप होता है इसको तो हायर लेवल, एलीट लेवल ट्रेनिंग, और इसके लिए एक रास्ता इसको बनाने का। तो होते है आपका स्टेट लेवल में, डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल में भी हो सकता है, कभी इसका वो स्टेट लेवल में भी होता है, और नेशनल लेवल में भी, नेशनल कैंप्स में जाने का। सो एक स्कूल का पी लर्निंग आउटकम्स तो यही है। क्विकली समराइज करेगा तो फिटनेस एंड फिजिकली एक्टिव लाइफस्टाइल फ्रॉम फर्स्ट स्टैंडर्ड ऑल द वे अप टू 12th स्टैंडर्ड फॉर ऑल इन स्कूल, लेसन्स टू बी लर्न फॉर लाइफ। जिंदगी भर ये लेसन तो सीखना पड़ेगा बच्चे लोग को, और जिंदगी में पूरा टाइम जब तक जिंदा है वो फिजिकली एक्टिव लेने का वो मोटिवेशन चाहिए ये बच्चे लोग को। दूसरा तो स्पोर्ट्स परस्यूट, स्कूल का अपॉर्चुनिटीज देने का बच्चे लोग को, जो कुछ स्पोर्ट्स में स्पेशल है, जो एक्सेल करना पड़ेगा, वो टैलेंट है, इसको तो उठा के नेक्स्ट लेवल के लेके जाने का, इंटर स्कूल कॉम्पिटिशंस, उधर से स्पोर्टिंग एक्सेलेंस पाथवेज स्टेट और नेशनल लेवल तक जाने का रास्ता बनाने का। स्कूल में तो बच्चे लोग को कितना अपॉर्चुनिटीज मिलेगा फिजिकली एक्टिव रखने के लिए, और पी क्लासेस। अभी तो हमारा नया नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में तो मिनिमम वी आर लुकिंग एट 2 periods अ वीक। वो तो ज़्यादा स्कूल में नहीं हो सकता, ये भी एक पीरियड मिलने का तो इज अ बिग मिरेकल लाइक। तो कम से कम एक पीरियड ऑफ पी एक क्लास के लिए वंस एक हफ्ते में होना चाहिए। दैट इज अ बेयर मिनिमम, दैट इज अ मिनिमम पीरियड ऑफ हैविंग एक पीरियड पी के लिए। ऑल क्लासेस फ्रॉम आपका प्री, आपका नर्सरी भी होता है, नर्सरी बच्चे लोग को ज़्यादा चाहिए, तो LKG से 12th स्टैंडर्ड तक मिनिमम 1 पीरियड अ वीक वो तो हो सकता है स्कूल में। ये 1 पीरियड डेली कर सकते हैं तो दैट इज एब्सोल्युटली ब्रिलियंट। जगह है, टीचर्स है, करिकुलम है, टाइम टेबल का स्पेस है, आप कर सकते हैं तो वो अच्छा है। जब ये तो होता है एक पी पीरियड मिलेगा तो डेली इसको 45 मिनट्स मिलेगा एक पी पीरियड में। मिनिमम हमारा तो 60 मिनट्स ऑफ फिजिकल एक्टिविटी पर डे। जब बच्चे लोग स्कूल में आते हैं, 8:30 स्कूल स्टार्ट होते हैं, तो कभी बच्चे लोग 8 बजे आते हैं, 7:30 को भी आते हैं बच्चे लोग। ये बच्चे लोग स्कूल आके इसको खेलने का मौका देने का, खेलने का मौका तो हम बोलते हैं अडल्ट सुपरवाइज स्पोर्ट्स बिफोर एंड आफ्टर स्कूल। बच्चे लोग आएगा स्कूल में, आपका स्कूल में वो जगह है तो अपॉर्चुनिटी है, और बजट भी है, और मटेरियल भी है, तो आप एक जगह पर कुछ बॉल रख सकते हैं। जो बच्चे लोग अर्ली आते हैं बॉल्स लेके कुछ गेम खेल सकते हैं, जो भी इनको चाहिए फिजिकली एक्टिव रखने के लिए वो हम दे सकते हैं इन लोग को। दूसरा रास्ता है जब ये सब्स्टिट्यूशंस और फ्री पीरियड्स होता है, कभी कभी सब टीचर्स को सब्स्टिट्यूशन होता है, ये सब्स्टिट्यूशन और फ्री पीरियड ये भी फिजिकल एक्टिविटी कर सकते हैं। और जब भी वो आपका स्कूल में जगह है तो, क्योंकि रेगुलर पी क्लासेस भी चलेगा, अभी वो सब्स्टिट्यूशन पीरियड्स भी आएगा, तो जो बच्चे इसका पी पीरियड है इसका जगह तो मिलना ही मिलेगा, तो वो बैलेंस है सकता होता है। जो कभी आपको कई सब्सटीट्यूशन पीरियड्स है वो भी आप एक फिजिकल एक्टिविटी पीरियड बन सकते हैं। हमारा स्पोर्ट्स डेवलपमेंट पिरामिड फॉर स्कूल चिल्ड्रन, स्टार्टिंग तो होल स्कूल पार्टिसिपेशन है। होल स्कूल पार्टिसिपेशन बोलेगा तो पी एंड स्पोर्ट्स कोचिंग, इंटरनेशनल योगा डे, नेशनल स्पोर्ट्स डे, फिट इंडिया स्कूल वीक, ये तो हमारा एक होल स्कूल को इन्वॉल्व कर सकते हैं जब भी हम ऐसा प्रोग्राम करते हैं। नेक्स्ट लेवल तो हमारा इंट्राम्यूरल स्पोर्ट्स कॉम्पिटिशन होता है। इंट्राम्यूरल तो इंटर हाउस हो सकता है, इंटर क्लास होता है, स्कूल स्पोर्ट्स डे होता है, फिर इनविटेशन टू स्कूल टीम ट्राई आउट्स। सो ये इसमें तो जो बच्चे लोग को इंटरेस्ट है तो वो लोग तो नेक्स्ट लेवल में आएगा इंटरम्यूरल कॉम्पिटिशन में पार्टिसिपेट करने का। उधर से तो नेक्स्ट लेवल तो हमारा इंटर स्कूल कॉम्पिटिशन है। ये बच्चे लोग को स्कूल टीम का रिप्रेजेंट करके इंटर स्कूल कॉम्पिटिशन्स लेके जाने का, मिडिल स्कूल, हाई स्कूल एंड हायर सेकेंडरी लेवल। और उधर से नेक्स्ट लेवल तो हमारा क्लस्टर रीजनल कॉम्पिटिशन्स के लिए जाने का, और उधर फ्रॉम देयर द नेक्स्ट लेवल तो हमारा फेडरेशंस एंड नेशनल लेवल का। सो यही तो हमारा स्कूल के अंदर एक पाथवे बच्चे लोग को कैसा पी क्लास से हाईएस्ट लेवल एक्सेलेंस लेवल को, नेशनल लेवल को खेलने का एक रास्ता हम बनाते हैं इन लोग को, बच्चे को। मोर पार्टिसिपेशन, मोर पोडियम फिनिश। तो अभी तो हमारा ये एक खेलो इंडिया का प्रोग्राम, हमारा मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ यूथ अफेयर्स एंड स्पोर्ट्स का और साई का भी, हाउ कैन वी गेट मोर पीपल ऑन टू द पोडियम इंटरनेशनल लेवल में, कैसा हमारा एथलीट्स जाके, हमारा स्पोर्ट्समैन जाके कॉम्पिटिशन्स विन कर सकता है। तो इसके लिए तो बेस तो हमारा स्कूल्स में स्टार्ट होता है, पीई क्लासेस में स्टार्ट होता है। इसका बेस, ये फाउंडेशन उधर से स्टार्ट होता है। जो मैंने पहले बोला था, फर्स्ट स्टैंडर्ड से 12th स्टैंडर्ड तक बच्चे लोग का फिजिकल एक्टिविटी और फिटनेस, ये तो एक वो स्किल्स तो सीखने का है बच्चे लोग को। ये सीखने के बाद तो ये बच्चे लोग को नेक्स्ट लेवल जाने का, तो डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल, उधर से स्टेट लेवल और नेशनल लेवल में जाने का। अभी तो एक एक फेडरेशन का नेशनल कैंप्स चलता है इसका टीम को हायर लेवल जाके अच्छा परफॉर्म करने के लिए। प्राइवेट प्रोग्राम्स भी है। I don't know how many of you have heard about OGQ, Olympic Gold Quest. एक प्रोग्राम है इंडिया में, ओलंपिक गोल्ड क्वेस्ट, मोस्टली फॉर इंडिविजुअल स्पोर्ट्स। ओलंपिक गोल्ड क्वेस्ट का विजन था इंडिया को ओलंपिक मेडल्स विन करने के लिए, और इसके लिए इन लोग का फोकस था इंडिविजुअल स्पोर्ट्स में। इंडिविजुअल स्पोर्ट्स में लाइक आर्चरी, टेबल टेनिस, शूटिंग, ये इंडिविजुअल स्पोर्ट्स में ये लोग ज़्यादा फोकस करते हैं। जो एथलीट्स हाई लेवल परफॉर्मेंस में है और इंटरनेशनली रैंक्ड है, ओलंपिक गोल्ड क्वेस्ट OGQ इसको पूरा सपोर्ट देता है फॉर कोचिंग, फॉर ट्रेनिंग, हायरिंग ऑफ कोचेस, ट्रैवल, न्यूट्रिशन, किट, सबको द मैक्सिमम बजट दे आर गिविंग टू देम, एंड दिस इज ऑल कमिंग थ्रू फंडिंग फ्रॉम वेरियस CSR projects from other companies. So this participation and podium finishing is a very important process, and this starts at the school level. Only when we have the maximum number of children participating in schools. Why is the US the most successful Olympic country? They are very successful with their Olympic programs because the children in US schools are going through a structured, progressive curriculum from kindergarten all the way to high school, where they are taught all the skills that are required to be an excellent athlete and also to take part in sports and games. तो क्या होता है, इसका base of knowledgeable, talented, skilled, technical skilled people is very high at the lower end, at the school level. उधर से और next level को जाता है, the elite level athletes from school level, they start moving to university and college through scholarship programs, very high scholarships. So आप देखेगा तो you'll see that the US university programs in any sport is almost at the world level, at world class level, because they are bringing the athletes from all around the world on scholarships, and it's a matter of great pride for all US universities to take part in the NCAA championships and win. For example, if I give you a simple example, if two of the universities are playing the NCAA finals for basketball, that has got a maximum television audience, which is like how we watch IPL in India. If you're watching IPL India finals, the NCAA, National Collegiate Athletic Association basketball finals, has got the same kind of interest in the US amongst general public. The amount of people coming to the stadium to watch the game, just an university match, is more than 25, 30,000 people come to watch that. So what happens is this base is being built up, and that's how they are able to keep moving their best athletes from one level to the next level to the next level. And this is what we are also trying to do here. We have to increase that base at the bottom and then get more people onto the podium. When we talk about participation in sports, outdoor and natural activities. Now, school sports, there are a whole lot of things that we can do. We have sports tournaments, then we have school camps. We have something like called like forest schools, which is more like schools which happen when you take the class out of the school setting into a natural environment, like how we do camping in physical education colleges. Everybody knows that जब हम लोग physical education college में हैं तो हमारा one of our best memories of physical education college for all of us in LNCP, I don't know how many LNCPians are here, is our Panchmari camp that we go to. It's an amazing experience to be out there for 10 days and enjoy being in nature. These are the kind of opportunities that we can introduce for our children. जब भी हमारा बच्चे लोग को ऐसा एक्सपोजर देता है स्कूल लेवल में, कॉलेज में नहीं, स्कूल लेवल में भी नेचर के साथ camping opportunities, 1 day, 2 days, several days, trekking. These are great things to do for the children. Same way, sports tournaments can be there, friendly matches, inter-school preparation competitions, inter-school competitions, in-school competitions, international competitions for school. Also, the children go out to take part, and domestic competitions. Events with sports, having a particular 1 day for one particular sport, having a health day, gymnastics and sports celebration, tours, excursions, sports shows, challenge days, sports quiz, it's all there on the slide, you can see it. So anything that can give an opportunity, बच्चे लोग को एक मौका देने का, sports and outdoor leisure activities and nature activities with participate करने का. One of the first steps after participation, बच्चे लोग का participate, PE classes में तो participation होता है, maximum participation. इसका next level when we want to look at competitive level, तो inter-house or inter-class matches. ये inter-house और inter-class matches तो कौन सा level से हम कर सकते हैं? KG से भी कर सकते हैं, from nursery. उधर तो हमारा फोकस ज्यादा होना चाहिए बच्चे लोग को पार्टिसिपेट करने का, विनिंग के बारे में नहीं, लूजिंग के बारे में नहीं. इट इज जस्ट अबाउट द जॉय ऑफ टेकिंग पार्ट इन sports competitions, any kind of sports activity. For example, if I say like some of the schools, international schools, they have what is called a fun day, a sports fun day. The sports fun day, what they basically do, ये लोग क्या करते हैं तो ऐसा 10 सर्क्यूट बनाते हैं. 10 सर्किट बना के एक बच्चे लोग आएगा, एक क्लास आएगा. फॉर एग्जांपल लेट्स से क्लास LKG A section is coming out, इसमें तो 25 चिल्ड्रन है, तो और 25 चिल्ड्रन को ईच ग्रुप में 5-5 बना के, so they are in groups of 5, or 5 children will go to one station, 5 to another, they spread them out in the stations. So they will do एक activity, they will do for about 5 minutes, then they go to the next activity, 5 minutes. Every activity they will take part, and all these activities will be of different types. Some will be throwing, some will be catching, some will be running, some will be fun, some will be team, some will be individual. But there is no prizes. They're all just taking part from one event to another event. And within 1.5 hours or 1 hour, they experience 10 different kinds of physical activities. So the participation, the motivation, there is no win-loss here. The children just have fun. A lot of organization is required for this, but once you are able to do this, you will suddenly realize that your children are having a great time when they come for these sessions. Same way, once the children come to upper elementary, class 3 and 5, slowly the concept of class teams can be encouraged. Importance of teamwork in competitions. So slowly we are moving from the participatory side towards the competitive side. Next phase is going to be in middle school from 6 to 8, where we can stress a little more on the competitive side. And finally, as we get to high school, it is going to be extremely competitive. So the inter-house and inter-class competitions are very popular with the high school students and the middle school students. But it's also important to make sure that you are including everybody into these competitions. If you are a co-educational school, जब भी आप आपका स्कूल तो co-educational है तो try as far as possible to have mixed gender competitions. Mixed gender competitions will help to make boys and girls have a healthy respect for each other and to understand each other better. When they are competing and playing together as a team on the play fields, equality steps in very strongly. And this will help our boys and our girls to understand each other better. When we do our primary children's sports days, I mean, there are thousands, I would say millions of ideas that are available. I mean, they're up there on the screen there. But I'm sure जब भी आप लोग थोड़ा creative हो जाएगा, थोड़ा research करेगा तो online, आपको तो बहुत ideas मिलेगा. जैसा हमारा sports day तो अलग तरह बनाने का और बच्चे लोग का interesting बनाने का. The most important thing ये तो the children must have fun in primary sports days. It is about maximum participation and fun. Middle school, again, as I said earlier, 6, 7, 8, we're going to start challenging them. We're going to start pushing them to excel. So here we want to start throwing in the team concept, the individual concept, and also about glory for winning for your class, for your house. So yeah, it has to be a mixture between sports and games and fun events. It has to be a mixture of all these things. So when we mix all these things up, where you have individuals who can shine in a 100 meters race, you can have individuals who can shine in a long jump. You can have a team that takes part in a tug of war. You can have a team that takes part in an obstacle race. So all aspects of physical activity should be encouraged. Secondary school, again, it's an expansion from what we do at middle school. The sports day, of course, we want to do all the track and field events with all the sprints, the jumps, the throws, whatever is possible to be done in your school. But again, make sure that you're giving opportunities for many people to take part on sports day. And also in the senior, at the higher secondary level, try and use fun elements there. Fun elements will make it more interesting for those who are not very keen to compete, but they want to just take part and have fun. So one of the ideas that we have put up here is called the color run. What is a color run? A color run is basically run over distances of 3 or 5 kilometers. So what happens is the children sign up for the color run, and when they come for the color run, they are given a t-shirt, which would basically be a white t-shirt with your school logo, whatever, and the color run participation. And at the starting point, we use different colors, just like how we play Holi. So at the 0 point where they're starting, there will be one color which will be put on them. Then when they go to the first kilometer, there will be another color put on them. So second kilometer, another color, third kilometer, fourth kilometer, and fifth kilometer, depending on what distance you want to run. So when the children finish the color run and they come back to the finish line, they will have all these colors on them, which is almost like playing Holi. And it is fun. You don't have to run. You can do whatever you want. If you have the space, you can also ask them to come with their bicycles. If you have space, you can ask them to use their skateboards. They can use their roller skates. They can walk. If you have children who have special needs, they can go in their wheelchairs. Everybody can be involved in the color run because there's no winners, there's no losers. It's only just fun. Now, one of the things, जब my PE teachers, coaches के बारे में बात करते थे, मैंने क्या बोलता था इन लोगों को, how can we think out of the box regarding sports day? जब भी हमारा sports day होता है तो it is basically in most of the all over India, if you see 90% of the schools, it's a one day affair. एक ही दिन में फर्स्ट स्टैंडर्ड से 12th स्टैंडर्ड तक इनका स्पोर्ट्स डे होता है. एक एक इवेंट एक एक क्लास के लिए और एज ग्रुप के लिए. पहले तो हीट से करेगा और इसके बाद तो थोड़ा इवेंट्स फाइनल में रहेगा. मैक्सिमम टाइम पे ड्रिल में जाएगा, मार्च पास में जाएगा, अवार्ड्स में जाएगा. स्पोर्ट्स डे शुड बी अ फन थिंग फॉर द होल स्कूल. एक रास्ता है इसको होल स्कूल इन्वॉल्वमेंट करने का. एक स्पोर्ट्स डे के बंदे एक हफ्ते एक दिन में नहीं करने का है, एक हफ्ते कर दो आप. नहीं तो एक एक टर्म में, फर्स्ट टर्म में हाई स्कूल एंड हायर सेकेंडरी, सेकंड टर्म में मिडिल स्कूल और थर्ड टर्म में एलिमेंट्री स्कूल और प्राइमरी स्कूल. ऐसा आप करेगा तो खाली हो ग्रुप 1 to 5, 6 to 8 and 9 to 12, इन लोग वो बच्चे लोग को मैक्सिमम अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलेगा इनका स्पोर्ट्स डे में शाइन करने का. सब बच्चे लोग पार्टिसिपेट कर सकते हैं. आप तो एक रूल रख सकते हैं, मैक्सिमम पार्टिसिपेशन फॉर ट्रैक एंड फील्ड इवेंट्स कैन बी ओनली one event per person, so you have more people participating, and use a lot of more team games. Make sure that there are team games that are happening. Try to, I mean, the drills are all great. It looks very nice on for photographs and for the magazine. But if you ask me personally, from my experience of over 35 years, most children do not like drills. Drills are repetitive and they are boring. You're standing in one place and you're doing the same thing again and again. Every year, the same drill comes back in different forms. Try and be more creative when you're doing the mass displays. Think of how you can bring in dancing. Dancing अभी तो Olympic sport बन गया. तो जैसा हम लोग dancing instead of having these drills, how can we bring in a dance program? A really active, vibrant dance, like we have Bhangra, we have so many other traditional dances of India. We can bring those kind of dance programs into our sports days as an opening event. Like, so same way we can bring in the aspects of yoga, we can bring in gymnastics. So try and bring in something which is different from basic drills. Let it be more of promotion of children being active. Why do we talk about the whole week? When we talk about a whole week sports day, so it allows the maximum participation for the whole school. Whole school can be involved. Generally, in a one-day sports day, what happens is the high schoolers and the higher secondary students, the whole focus is on them. The younger ones, they are just the sideshow. They are not the part of the main event. So try and think differently about how you can do the school sports day. A very important part of over the years that has been happening in the school sports and the national sports setup is having certain days allocated for particular thing. So now we have on the 29th of August, we have what is called our National Sports Day. So that is the birthday of Major Dhyan Chand, and all of you know the history of Major Dhyan Chand. So it's also a fantastic way on that particular day to introduce hockey to our students. Once upon a time, we called hockey our national sport. We don't know what is our national sport now. Okay, cricket is the most popular sport. So how do we bring back the glory of hockey? Try and introduce your students. If your children have never played hockey, try and introduce them to hockey on National Sports Day. But it's not just about hockey. It can be about anything that you want to do in your school on Sports Day. But make the children understand the importance of the National Sports Day. The National Sports Day should be a catalyst to drive people inside the school. That is the school students, the parent community, the teachers, the management, people outside the school to be more active. to promote physical activity. That's why we have what is called a National Sports Day. It is not about winning medals. It's not about taking part in competitions. It is about promoting being physically active. When you're celebrating National Sports Day, there are, as I said, there are so many things that you can do. You can have a walkathon, you can have a marathon, you can do a color run, you can have dance, you can play games, whole lot of things that can be done. And also the children can sign up for the Go for Fit India movement program is there. Sign your kids up, let them log in, create their own identities on that, and then they can start collecting their certificates of participation, which will motivate them and encourage them to be more physically active in life. We also have the Fit India School Week, which happens mostly in November and December, where the whole idea of the Fit India School Week is again to promote the concept of being physically active and being a fit person. How we are going to do this? You have a canvas in front of you. You can be the artist and you can create the most amazing painting that you want using all our physical activity programs from sports, dance, gymnastics, anything to create for your own school a Fit India Week. Let it become one of the biggest celebrations. The children in your school must actually look forward to it, and the planning should be starting well in advance. I would personally say that you should start planning this event at the end of the previous academic year. And the most important thing here would be to get your high school students to basically run this program. If your high school students, your class 11 and 12 students are given this opportunity about passing on this message of the Fit India School Week to their juniors, can you imagine the impact that will have on their own lives when they leave school? Hey, we took part and we were the ones who did this in our school. And that stays with them for life. It's not that the PE teachers were telling us to do this, do this. No, we created the Fit India program. The PE teachers can be the facilitators and allow the students to come up with their own ideas on how they can promote the Fit India School in the week, and they can control, run, and administer the whole program with the help of the PE department and the school management. That would be the way that you can really, really get this message of the Fit India School Week to your students. So there are whole ideas here for the Fit India School Week. The CBSE schools normally have it in the 3rd and 4th week in November. The other state boards, November, December. In Tamil Nadu, for example, it is just slowly become popular. The CBSE schools are doing it. Unfortunately, this year, of course, it's not going to be happening. It never happened. So let's see when we get back next year how we can all start working and getting this. So there's a guidelines here, about what we can do, a morning assembly, and then having competitions through posters, essay writing, quiz, and also having competitions for parents, staff, and students in traditional Indian indigenous regional games. As I said, use your students. They are the most amazing creative people. Our younger generation today are tech savvy kids. They are a digital generation. If you give them the opportunity and you tell them, I'm going to support you, you come up with the ideas of how we can promote Fit India School and Week. That is a great learning for them. It's an internship that you're giving them in sports events management. And some of them might eventually go on to become sports event managers in the outside. But their first step into sports event management would have happened inside your own schools. International Yoga Day, 21st June, the gift of India to the world, as I always say, all around the world today, the Yoga Day is being celebrated, and every year it is growing. Year by year, the number of people and countries that are participating in the International Yoga Day is growing. We should also make sure that ये program to हमारा schools में भी, it is still not happening. It is happening in certain parts of the country, but in many parts of the country, we do not focus a lot on yoga. And yoga is a gift of India to the world. And we should make sure that we are sharing this gift to our own children. ये तो हमारा responsibility है, PE teachers, as PE teachers, community coaches around the country. हम लोग तो ये हमारा बच्चे लोग को सीखने का, ये योगा का बेनिफिट्स क्या है, कैसा हम योगा को, जो स्पोर्ट भी हम खेलते हैं, जो भी स्पोर्ट्स है, कैसा योगा एक्टिविटीज हमारा वार्म अप में, हमारा कूल डाउन एक्टिविटीज में कैसे इसको ले सब, कैसा इसे इंक्लूड कर सकते हैं हम लोग. Keep talking to them about yoga, and on International Yoga Day, make sure that the awareness is created inside your schools. When you talk about competitions, we have outside school competitions, and sometimes, mostly, जब भी हमारा स्कूल कॉम्पिटिशन्स होता है तो हम लोग तो टूर्नामेंट के लिए जाता है. मैक्सिमम टाइम जब भी हम स्कूल से बाहर जाते हैं टूर्नामेंट्स के लिए जाता है. और एक अलग रास्ता भी है, जो हमारा नज़दीक स्कूल्स है, इनके साथ तो कभी कभी एक रिलेशनशिप डेवलप करके फ्रेंडली मैचेस खेलने का. खाली एक ही मैच है फ्रेंडली मैच. आपके पास तो एक फुटबॉल ग्राउंड है, तो वो नज़दीक वाली टीम को बुला सकते हैं आप इधर एक फ्रेंडली मैच खेलने के लिए. आपके पास बास्केटबॉल नहीं है, इन लोग के पास तो बास्केटबॉल कोर्ट है, तो आप उधर आपका टीम लेके जा सकते हैं मैच के लिए, और इनका अंडरस्टैंडिंग होता है तो प्रैक्टिस के लिए भी कर सकते हैं. तो यही तो हमारा फॉर्मेट होना चाहिए एक्सचेंजेस के लिए, कॉम्पिटिशन्स के लिए, वन ऑफ फ्रेंडली मैचेस के लिए. जब भी हमारा स्कूल टीम प्रिपेयर करेगा तो इट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. बच्चे लोग को प्रिपरेशन, विदाउट प्रिपरेशन डू नॉट टेक देम फॉर कॉम्पिटिशन्स. कभी कभी मैंने तो कुछ कॉम्पिटिशन्स में जाएगा तो कोच और पीई टीचर तो आउटसाइड से तो बहुत चिल्ला रहा बच्चे को. तो मैंने तो सोचा था ये लोग बहुत प्रैक्टिस किया, ये इसलिए तो कोच इतना नाराज है. जब भी हम बात करेंगे तो कोच से आप तो कितना टाइम प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हैं, सर हमारा स्कूल में तो टीम नहीं है, प्रैक्टिस कुछ नहीं है, ऐसे ही लेके आते हैं. तो मैं पूछा इनसे, तो आप तो क्यों आपका बच्चे लोग कितना चिल्लाते हैं, आप प्रैक्टिस भी आपने नहीं दिया, इन लोग को कुछ नहीं किया, फिर आप तो विन करने के लिए आप इतना चिल्लाते हैं. जब भी हम लोग ने बच्चे लोग को एक टीम बनाते तो हमारा टीम के लिए एक गोल चाहिए. क्या है, टीम बन गया, नेक्स्ट हम इंटर स्कूल कंपटीशन के लिए जा रहा है. एक कंपटीशन में हमारा गोल क्या है, पार्टिसिपेट करने का, जीतने का, और खाली जस्ट फॉर अ फ्रेंडली थिंग वी आर गोइंग. जब हमारा आपका टीम बनाता है आपको मालूम पड़ना पड़ेगा आपका ये कंपटीशन में क्या हो सकता है. सो आपका एक्सपेक्टेशंस तो भी होना चाहिए आपका टीम का, वो एक्सपेक्टेशंस की रख के आप इसको प्रैक्टिस देने का, रेगुलर प्रैक्टिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. क्रिएट प्रैक्टिस सेशंस एक टीम के लिए, तो प्रैक्टिस सेशंस वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. और मैच की पहले फ्रेंडली मैचेस भी खेलने का इंपॉर्टेंट है. दूसरा एक चीज था, जब भी हमारा स्कूल का टीम होता है तो इसको एक ब्रांड बनाने के लिए, अभी आप देखा आईपीएल में तो चेन्नई सुपर किंग्स है, मुंबई इंडियंस है, इसको लोगो है, कलर्स है, टीम का कलर है. ऐसा तो आप आपका स्कूल का भी आप कर सकते हैं, स्कूल के लिए एक कलर बन सकते हैं. यही तो हमारा स्कूल टीम का, सभी टीम का यही कलर में खेलते हैं, ब्लू, ग्रीन, येलो, रेड. कोच आपका इंटरेस्ट है, एक ब्रांड बनाओ इसको, वी आर द टाइगर्स, वी आर द ईगल्स, वी आर द रेवंस. तो ऐसे बोल के आप तो कुछ ऐसे ब्रांड बनाओ. जब ऐसे होते हैं तो बच्चे लोग को भी एक मोटिवेशन आता है हमारा ब्रांड तो बढ़ने के लिए. Importance of sports events and competitions. Now we're just coming to the main part of the program. Why, who, why, what, where and when. जब भी हम ये प्रोग्राम्स करते हैं, स्पोर्ट्स इवेंट्स करते हैं, तो मेन तो हमारा why are we doing this program? What is the purpose of doing this program? क्या है हमारा गोल, ये कंपटीशन करके हमारा गोल क्या है? पेरेंट्स को दिखाने के लिए, मैनेजमेंट को दिखाने के लिए, सोसाइटी को दिखाने के लिए, क्या के लिए था आप कर रहे हो? नेक्स्ट तो प्लानिंग. हाउ डू वी प्लान फॉर इट? Planning is very important for any event that we are doing. So when we have a plan, we know what we can achieve with the plan. If we don't have a plan, we are going to fail because we have never created a plan. So make sure that you have a proper plan. Next is to communicate this to the students, staff, and community. So once you have created a competition, it is very important to communicate this event to the whole school community. That includes the staff, the management, the students, the teachers, everybody should know about this event. And the final stage of it is the operations aspect. How are you going to execute this program on that particular day? Now, when we talk about sports events, I'm going to give the example of our sports days. Normally, what happens on these sports days is uh, the whole focus is on the opening ceremony, which would be like 30, 40 minutes of opening ceremony, march past, da, 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 everything like. And then the events will happen. There will be a rush again for that. And then the closing. And normally, the closing, what happens is always gets dragged. The children are tired after performing the whole day, and then you will have a vote of thanks, we'll have a chief guest speech and everything that's happening. That will be take another 30 minutes of at least formal work that is happening there. Always remember the focus of any of our events should be the enjoyment of the participants, the children who are participating in the sports. This is our first and most important goal. They must come to our sports event, they must enjoy participating in a well organized competition, and it should be run very smoothly. Whenever we are doing our sports days, try to make sure that all your medal ceremonies are not bunched towards the end. You stagger them in between. If you stagger them in between, then you don't have a long medal ceremony at the end. And at the end of the program, the final award ceremony should not be more than 10 to 15 minutes. So try and make sure that when you're doing the final awards, that you have minimum number of awards that have to be distributed. Now, when we are talking about a sports event, the first thing that we are going to do is, as I said, is the planning. We're going to create a plan. Once we create the plan, we need to have a budget. What is the budget for our sports, for our particular event that we are going to do? Next thing is now, where is the money going to come from? Is it going to come from sponsors? Is it going to come from entry fee? Is it going to come from donors? All these things are going to become very important part of how you are going to get the money for the budget for your sports. Also, you are going to look at how you can market this event. Marketing is going to be a very important part if you are looking at external funding for this event. The more you are present on social media, the more likes, the more views, the more shares that you get on social media, more sponsors are going to be coming to you. So it is very important that when you are doing events for sports, you try and be present on social media today, because this is a social media generation, completely digital. Everything is digital, and we have to accept that. Many of us from my generation may think like, oh, we don't need this, but that is what is going to sell your event. We need to be digitally present in all forms of social media, from Twitter to Instagram to Facebook to everything, WhatsApp. We have to be there if you want to bring in potential sponsors when you're marketing the event. The media management, media, again, as I said, now we have the digital media, we have the print media, and we have the television media. All these people will play a very important role in how you present this whole event to your viewers. Next thing is the operations part. Make sure you bring in a proper operations team so that you have the best people available at different parts of the when your event is functioning. If you don't have internal resources as in terms of experts, always look at getting the support from friends and colleagues who are experts in their own field, in the field that you're looking at, and inviting them to come in and help you as a volunteer or as a paid person. And of course, the last thing is to make sure that you have a good infrastructure for the event, which could be if you're running a track event, you want to make sure that you have a good track. The bare minimum is a 200 meters track with 4 lanes. If you can get a 400 track with 8 lanes in a stadium with a synthetic track, that's the best thing. So all these things, planning, budgeting, sponsors, marketing, media management, operations, experts, and infrastructure help you to make your event better. Uh, Now, it's very important that when we're having a sports event, when we are planning, is to set the date. Set the date and try to give yourself at least a minimum of 4 weeks to plan and to prepare for this event. And when you're planning and preparing for this event, make sure that you have a start time and a finish time, and how long is it going to take for each activity. Involve your teachers. Make sure you know which are the teachers that you want to be involved. Who are the areas, the teachers in your school, your maths teachers, your science teachers, your history teacher, your geography teacher, your music teacher. Who are the teachers who've got a little bit of experience running different kinds of activities for sports days? Talk about refreshments and all the equipment that you will need. So all that what is needed for a sports event, plan and create a written proposal for that. Again, budgeting and financing the event, we need money for prize money, venue for the cost, whether it is the ground maintenance or hiring a venue, equipment, supplies, personnel, all these things that are required, that you see on the screen. You need money for this. So make sure that you have a budget and stick to your budget when you have a budget. Try not to overshoot your budget. Two areas that I would always talk to you about in sports event is facility setup and facility cleanup. It is, you will always find that when you are doing an event, in the beginning of the event, many people are there to help you to do everything. Jab event ho gaya to, everybody will disappear. Cleaning up becomes a major issue. When you want to clean up, you will suddenly realize that there are very few people there to help you to clean up. So make sure that you have planning even for your cleanup after the event is over. How do we identify potential sponsors? What you always want to look at for your sponsor is, now it has to be a win-win situation for both of you. So if you have a sponsor who's dealing with sports goods and you want to bring them, let's say like Adidas or Puma, if you want to bring them for your sports day and they are willing to sponsor certain parts of your event or give you a cash sponsorship or anything, they need to make sure that they are going to get maximum mileage, so that when their event is going to be, their brand is going to be visible everywhere on that sports day. So that is how you are going to be talking to your sponsors about eyeballs. Remember this word eyeballs. Eyeballs means the amount of people's eyes that are going to be on your particular event. How many people are going to see this particular event happening? So the number of eyeballs are the most important deciding factor for potential sponsors. And when you have a sponsor, it is very important also to have a contract with your sponsor which clearly specifies what are the roles of both the parties and what each of you will be giving to each other in return. Marketing the event, as I was mentioning earlier, it's all print, electronic, advertising, radio. These are all the different ways. And of course, now the biggest thing is to go online and be in social media. So if you are planning a major event, make sure that your event is being highlighted on social media. Everybody knows today that the fastest thing is a tweet. Everybody knows we get onto Instagram, it's going to be shared immediately. So you need to find ways of how your event is going to be getting the eyeballs and getting a share of publicity. Media management. If you do not have the experience of managing media, sometimes when you invite press people, they say like, sir, we don't have time to send somebody. After you finish the event, just give us a report with some pictures and we will take care of it. That's great. If you have that relationship with them, that's what I do with many of my events. जब मेरा इवेंट होता था, इवेंट के बाद तो मैंने एक रिपोर्ट बनाता है और पिक्चर्स डालते हैं, इसके साथ ईमेल भेजता है और वो लोग तो एडिट करके and they will put a shorter version of that. So there are different ways of doing it. You can do it yourself, or if you have somebody in your school who's good with media, who's good at communication, sending emails and putting all the information together, you can use there. Maybe your IT department people can help you. If it's a very big event, ideally you want to be going through a media company who can help you with run this part of the program. Personnel management, it's very important again. The key area, very key, big area of finding the right people to run your event. So for example, if you're having a sports day and you want a starter, so it is important that you find a person who understands, who's technically qualified to be a starter. Just don't find anybody and put it there and say, oh, you are the starter. No. Find a person who understands the technicalities of the start and put him there. Same way, if you're having jumps and throws, you want the right people to be managing those areas. If you're having a football event, you want to make sure that you're getting qualified association-based referees. So same way, you want to be finding the right people for different areas of your operational areas. So you could have somebody who's looking after first aid. So if you want first aid, you want to have a proper medical team in there, a physio, a doctor, and a nurse if you have it in school. If not, tie up with a local hospital and give them branding space in your event and ask them to be partners for your event. The same way, you can also bring in good quality vendors who are going to be supplying the food and all the items that are associated with your event. So personal management of all the people who are going to be involved in your event is going to be a very important role for the person in charge of the whole event. Pre, during, and post event. Now, there are a lot of things that have to be done before the event, then on the day, and then the post event. So the pre-event areas are mostly the planning schedules, deadlines, giving timelines and making sure that everything is being executed towards that deadline. On the day of the event, it's the complete operations team that is going to be taking care of what is going to be happening on the field. I've mentioned Murphy's Law here. Murphy's Law is basically what? Always be prepared for the worst. Something can go wrong. Always. You can do the best planning, but there can always be something that will go wrong. And when that situation happens, how will you respond? It could be a loss of power in the stadium. It could be a fire. It could be somebody getting hurt or whatever it is. How are you going to deal with these situations? So try and predict and to also have an action plan when these things are going to happen. One of the most important things that happens in sports events is the waste. All our sports events, we leave behind a mountain of waste. Let us find a way of how we can make our sports events more eco-friendly. I'll give you an example. If you go now to a wedding, and if you sit down in the wedding, you will realize everybody is given a small bottle of water. So if there's 10,000 guests there, at the end of the day, you will find 15,000 bottles that are going to be thrown away, water bottles. How can we change this if we are doing a sports day in our place? The best way is to make sure that you have water fountains, places where people can come with their own water bottles and they can fill up their water which is being stored in a hygienic way, where people will be happy to go to that place and pick up the water instead of having thousands of water bottles lying down. Same way with your food. Try to make sure that you're using minimum wrapping of plastics or silver foil and things like that, and have bins to segregate your waste. You can have bins where the food waste can go in, things that can be recycled and things that cannot be recycled. So we have to follow the 3R principle: reduce, reuse, and recycle. And also when we are doing our events, there are so many things from the event that can be carried over from one event to the next event. So make sure that anything that can be reused for the next event, always try and reuse them and store them. Storage is very important when we are talking about reuse. We always say, okay, next year we will use these things and we'll just take them and go and throw them somewhere. And next year when we try to use them, we cannot use them because we have not stored them properly. So whatever we are planning to reuse, make sure that you store this properly. When your teams come for events, it's very important that your teams are taken care of, your players, the coaches, the support staff, the organization, and the organizers. When the teams are arriving, it's very important that they have access to the ground facilities, transportation, hygienic food, and basic security, locker rooms. These are all very important parts when you have a tournament and you are inviting teams to come in. So before the matches, ideally you want to make sure that your main facility that you're going to be using for the event is not being used by teams for practice. Have a separate ground where the teams can go for practice. This will help you to make sure that your main venue is intact and usable on the day of the event. Because sometimes what happens, you have a football tournament and teams will come in advance and they want to practice. They will practice on the same ground that you're going to have the matches. So it is very important that you find other grounds where teams can practice. Training and practice facility schedules. If you're going to have a practice schedule for the teams and you have found a place, it's always good to say to teams that this is your training time from 10 to 12, 2-hour practice for team A, 2-hour practice for team B, from 12 to 2, 2 to 4, this team will practice. So give them their time slots and stick to it. No team should take advantage and carry on and overrun their time slot. 2 hours is your time, you train within those 2 hours. And before I come to this slide, I want to just quickly throw one more thing inside. This is about Special Olympics and unified schools. I work with Special Olympics Bharat and Special Olympics International, and I'm a resource person for them. And the school where I work in Montfort Matriculation School, St. Thomas Mount, Chennai, is one of the largest inclusive schools. We have 170 children with special needs in our school. And in every class, we have 3 children with special needs. When I say special needs, I'm talking about intellectual disabilities. And these children are of different ability levels. Some of them function at a higher level, some of them are at a lower level. And all these children are a part and parcel of our PE program in our school. We make sure that these children are actively involved in the school sports program. During the PE classes, they have access to the PE class. And also we have promote the concept of unified sports. Unified sports is where you partner the children with a regular person in school, and they do team sports. They do they play activities that can be team sports, they can be individual, it could be competitive, it could be participatory. For example, my students recently participated in the first unified football championship for schools in Chennai. We had about 5 schools that came, and because my children are regularly playing football as a part of their PE program, it was easier for me to train my students with their unified partners. And when we went for the competition, we were able to perform better. So my sincere request to all the PE teachers and coaches who are here on this program today is please promote a unified aspect in your PE programs in schools where persons with disability are welcome and they are given maximum opportunity to take part in sports. So with this, as I say, when you look at the slide here, you see that it says sports is the most powerful teacher of life. And I do fully believe in this message. The children that spend school with us for 12 years, spend 6 or 7 hours in a day, you find that they all love to come to school when there is a good sports program. So let's make sure that we, our PE teachers, community coaches, are giving the best sports experience to our children. Thank you to one and all. Stay inspired. Jai Hind.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir, for the wonderful presentation on organizing sports and events in various sectors. Sir, your presentation have enlightened us on various topics such as pathway for sports development in school, participating opportunities in sporting, outdoor and leisure activities, and importance of sports event and competitions in schools and community coaching. Sir, I think there is no question in question box. So can I have, sir, one question from you?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, sir, can you tell us something about the creativity and the innovation of exercises in an activity? Because you are rightly pointed out, sir, we have been following the traditional forms of drills and exercises. It means that we have been repeatedly doing the same exercises. So how the creativity and innovative skills are effective in a schooling sector? Sir, can you tell us something, please?
So now when we talk about creativity, I think it's see what is going to happen is now what are the experiences that you have whenever we talk about creativity. Our creativity is something that is born within us, which is defined by our own personal experiences. So if you are a person that has been exposed to different aspects, let's say for example, if you are going outside somewhere and you see a coloring program, you see something happening with coloring in a coloring place, and then you think like, can I bring that to my school? Can I make my children do a form of coloring warm up as a part of a sports day? Now, so that is basically you have seen something somewhere, and now you are looking at how I can bring it and transform it into my school, which I have done personally in my own schools. So it's like we have Silambam in Tamil Nadu. So when I came to Montfort, and I was walking by back home one day, and close to my school there's a ground, and there was a teacher there who was teaching the children Silambam. So I was standing and watching him, and I will always stand and watch any physical activity that children are doing. If I'm passing by on my scooter, car, if I can stop, I will stop and watch for 2 minutes. I will never walk away without stopping them. So I stood there and I was watching them for some time, and then I got the chance to speak to the trainer, and then I asked him, uh, you know, uh, uh, explain something more about Silambam to me, because it's the first time I had seen it actually. And then he was telling me, and I said, wow, that's great. I said, do you think you can bring your Silambam program as an after school activity for my students in school? He said, sir, I'm looking for that. If you give me a chance, I will come. I said, great, you come. So the next day he came, I had a talk with my principal, and we said, fine, let's do it. So today in my school, we have an after school program of Silambam activities. And those same children, when we had sports day, we had more than 300 children doing a proper Silambam display on sports day. So it is just that I saw something, I looked at it, and I said, how do we bring this into the school? And it has worked. And the most amazing thing is now, my special needs kids, the children in my special school program, they are all doing Silambam, because after I started researching it, I realized the bilateral aspects of Silambam, because we are crossing with Silambam activities, we are always crossing the midline of the body. So the right and left hemispheres of the brain are coming into play. And this was like a tremendous thing for the children with special needs, because whatever we try and do for them to do left and right activities is very difficult. But when we give them a Silambam stick in their hand and ask them to start turning it like this became very easy for them to do with the Silambam stick. But when I was trying to do this with balls, it's not happening. But with the Silambam stick, it was easy. So creativity is about looking around you, looking at the opportunities, and then trying to see how you can incorporate it into whatever you are doing.
Yeah, sir, you are well explained about this, about the topic on the creativity and innovation. And I think this might be the weapon for 3.0 or 4.4 teachers for the current generation to implement this creativity and the innovative skills in their scenario. Uh, Sir, thank you, sir. And one more question is that, sir, how can we organize the winter competitions for school students?
Sorry, can I hear that again, please?
Sir, there is one question from the participant stated that how can we organize the winter competition?
Winter.
Yeah, winter.
Oh, we don't have a winter in Chennai. So we only have hot, hotter, and hottest. So there's
Yeah,
no, in Chennai, it's only hot, hot, hot. I suppose this question is from somebody in the north. I mean, I'm sure in winter it's going to be totally different depending on which part of the country you are for winter. There are winter sports. I mean, if you're somewhere in the Ladakh region or in Kashmir, there are winter sports that can start from skiing to snowboarding and to horseshoeing. And there are so many activities. You can play ice hockey, you can have skating and things like that. But that is all going to depend on the snow conditions, and some parts of the country are going to have it. But if you talk about winter sports as in general, I think most of our sports in India can be played year round, whatever we are playing. But the true winter sports, I think, it's pretty much restricted to the certain parts of the country where you're going to have access to winter sports facilities.
yeah, yes. Obviously, we have to go for simulation training based on the similar conditions. So we don't have such a thing, but still, the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Youth Affairs and Sport and SAI, they have even they have created the winter camp, even the winter center at the one of the highland arena. So where they could able to train for the winter competition. Sir, thank you so much. And on behalf of, I think one more question is there, sir. Sir, it's about uh, in government sector, in particularly in Bihar. So they have decided the game period from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Sir, how they engage in all? How can how all the students can be engaged from 3 to 4? So this was the question, sir, from one of the participants.
So all the PE classes have to be done between 3 and 4?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Wow. So that's a big challenge. I don't know how many students are there in that school. What is the facility that they have in terms of infrastructure, and how many PE teachers they have? What is the size of the department? See, all this are going to be very important in running this program from 3 to 4. My personal suggestion to to the person who's asked this question is uh, to manage this. Yeah, ideally, you should look at how you can break this down into if you are following a 5 day a week school or a 6 day a week school, so that you can look at having it as 2 days for elementary school, 2 days for middle school, and 2 days for high school. So if you're doing a 6 day week, so that 3 to 4 period, only one block of students can come out, so that they can at least get 2 periods a week instead of the whole school coming there. So that way it will be a more manageable number, and even if you have small facilities, you can still try and do something rather than doing with the whole school. So break it down into smaller groups, which can be, as I said, elementary should be 1 to 5, and middle school 6, 7, 8, and high school 9 to 12. So you break them down 2 days a week: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That would be the easier way to sort of run this program. I hope that helps. But I'm sorry for the person who's in a situation like that. I feel
Yeah,
very sorry for him.
yes, sir. You are rightly said, sir. Sir, with your permission, let us go for one more question, sir. Um, Sir, even I could not understand the question, but still let me try. At a place where parents are showing, sir, can you able to see the question, sir?
One
The
second.
question from Adnan Rizza.
Yes. Uh, oh, I can't.
Yeah, yeah, sir. Sir, actually, nowadays the parents are looking for the scholarship. So in such a condition, how can we encourage them to participate in a sporting event?
Uh,
So parents are, yeah, please, sir.
Let me just quickly touch on that. Uh,
Yeah,
as I was talking to you about earlier about the NCAA, the National Collegiate Athletic Association in the US. Now, the US universities are the biggest scholarship givers worldwide for sports. You don't get bigger scholarships than going to, and there are many students from India who have successfully applied to US universities for scholarships, and they have been accepted into US universities, especially in tennis, in badminton, and some of the individual sports, more in the individual sports. Recently, a few players have broken into the athletics, into track and field, and some have broken into the basketball also. There are a few players who have gone into the basketball teams. Uh, Now, this is going to come down to how we are going to develop our own inter-university programs. See, now, for example, I know for sure in Tamil Nadu, there are many universities that are giving free education in engineering and in the arts and humanities to athletes. So if you are invited to the tryouts, and if you make the university team or the college team there, you are given free education. You don't pay for anything from hostel to school, the college fees or anything. Totally, you come into a free education system. So that's the form. It's like a barter. It's basically a barter system. But there is no financial benefits, but the students get access to a good university, and they are studying at a free cost there.
yes, sir. Sir, with your kind permission, let me conclude the session. On behalf of Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sport, Khelo India, and Sai LNCP are uh, expresses our sincere gratitude to the Speaker of the Day, Sri Francis Sebastian, sir. for accepting our invitation. Thank you so much, sir, for being here as a speaker of the day. Sir, thank you so much.
Thank you to everybody.
Thank you, all the participants, and have a great day ahead. And let's meet tomorrow at the same time. Thank you.